Hi. So as we're going through your evaluations, we wanted to give you a little bit of feedback, more concrete feedback on writing an evaluation assessment. So as I go back through your SOAP notebook, I recognize that it really is looking at it more from a lens of an intervention assessment, which is a little bit different from your evaluation assessment. So the intervention assessment really is, what are you doing in the session, how did they do it, and why will they continue to benefit from your services? The evaluation assessment is more synthesis and analysis of what information you gained from your evaluation. So really with the evaluation assessment, you're assessing the data. So everything that you gathered from your evaluation, you're now synthesizing and analyzing what you did with the client or what they're able to do. So you're really looking at what did they do and how did they do it. So you've gathered all of that information, and within that assessment, you're really trying to decide, why do they need your skilled intervention? You need to be able to justify the continuation or the need for your services. So remember, your assessment must include, what are the occupational limitations, the problem, the barriers? What is your appraisal of the client? So this is looking at the progress, this is the barriers, this is the strengths. So this comes from your SOAP notebook. What are the expected benefits from the OT intervention? What is the potential? So the problem, progress, and potential should be familiar terms from your SOAP notebook. So that's that occupational limitations, your appraisal of the client, and why do they need your services? So what are the problems? These are your barriers. Contributing factors. This should be familiar from your SOAP notebook. What are the factors that are impacting the client? So is it performance skills? Is it habits, routines? Look at the examples in the book as to, how to understand what those contributing factors are. What is the impact of these contributing factors on the client? This information you have already because you've evaluated the client, and now you're analyzing the information. You're understanding what the barriers are, and then how do those barriers impact their ability to engage in occupation. And those occupations should look familiar. So here's an example. Mr. Jones presents with left upper extremity weakness, which impact his ability to participate in dressing, bathing, and self-feeding tasks. So I've identified the contributing factor, left upper extremity weakness. It's his impact, his ability to participate in these occupations. And I'm very specific about the occupations that he is participating in. So looking at the progress, again, progress is going to look a little bit different from your intervention, from your eval. But again, this is the strengths of the client. This is why they're going to benefit from your services. This is why they need you. How you're doing what you're doing, is it effective? Are they going to benefit from seeing you and your skilled intervention? Again, why do they need you? Really, all of this is pulling together what you've seen, pulling together everything that you've seen. What did you see? How did they perform? And then how will they benefit from seeing you? So here's an example. The client is a 32-year-old male. Gender is no longer part of SOAP notes, and I can't get that out of my head. Client is a 32-year-old status post motor vehicle accident with multi-trauma and a concussion. Presents with non-weight bearing on the right lower and left upper extremity, uncontrolled pain in his right lower extremity, headaches, light sensitivity, and decreased attention to tasks. So I've outlined what the contributing factors are. These deficit areas impact his ability to perform BADLs, functional transfers, engage with his infant daughter, and sustain his attention during money management and employment-related activities. So I've identified how those contributing factors impact his performance. He has a strong support system and one level setup available at home. So that is his potential. So he will benefit from skilled OT to address these functional deficits in preparation for a safe discharge to home and community. So I've identified the contributing factors, their impact, and his potential. Now, every practice setting, of course, is going to look a little bit different. This is a very physical rehab assessment, so certainly it will look a little bit different in the schools versus outpatient versus, acute care. But the overall formula is the same. So I hope this helps, and don't hesitate to reach out with other questions.